and welcome to Beaverdale Books. Is this working? Doesn't sound like it is.
Mic check.
Mic check. It was working.
Yeah. I think I hear myself. How about now?
Hello? Test.
Yep.
How about now?
Talk close to it. Back here.
Okay.
Yeah, and hold it like this.
Okay, welcome to Beaverdale Books. It is great to see you all here tonight for this book talk. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention a couple of upcoming events that we have. Romance lovers will want to attend our Romance Writers in Conversation with Elise Wayland and Denise Williams on Friday, August 22nd at 6:30. And they're going to talk about their latest books, Rivals to Lovers and Just Our Luck. We also have a book launch on Saturday, August 30th at 3 p.m. for Not Who You Think, written by Arbor Sloan. You can find all the details on our website, pick up a flyer at the register, or sign up for a newsletter. So, now on to tonight's program. I'm just so excited and honored to be able to be a part of hosting this awesome event to celebrate the new book, Word of Mouth, by Jave Yoshimoto and Laura Kina. So I just wrote a few little words here that I grabbed from their bios inside their books to kind of introduce them to you. Laura Kina is an artist and educator based in Chicago. She has exhibited her art nationally and internationally in galleries and museums, including the Chicago Cultural Center, the India Habitat Center, the Japanese American National Museum, the Smithsonian Archives of American Art, and more. She's a Vincent DePaul professor at the art school at DePaul University and curator for the Virtual Asian American Art Museum. She has a lot more accolades than that, but I'm going to stop there for a short intro. And then Jave Yoshimoto, also my friend, is an artist and educator who exhibits his work also nationally and internationally. And I would encourage you to look up both of their work. Absolutely moving, beautiful art. Anyway, he's also an art professor at UNO. He received a prestigious grant in 2015, which he used to travel to Nepal and Lesbos Island in Greece to research the topics of humanitarian crisis and resilience. He's been featured in numerous publications, such as the Huffington Post, the Chicago Tribune, New American Painting, and more. He also received a letter of recognition from the United Nations. And they both have their own Wikipedia pages. I think that that's pretty cool. So please join me in welcoming Laura Kina and Jave Yoshimoto.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, good to be here. So, welcome to our book talk. We're very excited because this is our very first collaboration we did together. We met back in 2012 in Seattle for the first time.
Yeah, we were trying to remember that right before the event was starting.
Yeah, because we've known each other for such a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
You were living out. This is a little loud.
It's a little loud.
Sorry.
I don't know. It was the microphone.
We had it perfect earlier, but that's how it is. Okay, is that okay? Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, can you hear me now?
We'll just figure it out. So
anyway.
we're both painters. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So we're both artists who happen to illustrate and make a cookbook.
Yeah, and but the funny thing is, like, we've always, whenever we came together, we were always talking about art, life, and food, over food, actually.
Yeah, usually we forget about the art and are talking about the foods.
Yeah, let's go find some good food to eat together, and that was always our goal, right? We look for a great Asian restaurant in Seattle or Chicago, or wherever we were at the time, and that's kind of how we just kind of collaborated, connected. And one time when we were in New Orleans together for an artist residency, that's when when Laura pitched the idea, hey, we should work together and make something. And that became this book eventually.
Yeah, we were at the Joan Mitchell Foundation residency, and both Jave and my artwork has a lot of really intense color. There's sort of very detailed and interest in line work. Our styles are a little different, though. Mine is a little looser and drippier and these kind of things.
And I'm very tight in my line work and my color work, and yeah, it's there's interesting contrast, but also a lot of complementary way that we can work together. But I think what was very exciting for me was that, I never really done a collaboration work with an artist before, and she was the one who initially nominated me for the John Mitchell Foundation Award back in 2015 that gave me the grant to go overseas. So that was like I owe her big thanks because I kind of made it as an artist at the time, as an upcoming artist. So to be with her at the same residency at the time was really special. But I think, again, like before in Chicago or Seattle, we were always connecting over food. And I was watching Laura making spam musubi in the kitchen. So we were always talking about, hey, what do you want to make today? What do you want to go eat
this was
today?
at the residency.
Yeah.
So we're a fan of each other's work. So I think our project starts from friendship and then a shared interest in each other's artwork.
Yeah.
And while we're at this residency in New Orleans, there was a hurricane evacuation.
Yeah.
And the people who were local said, just, hunker down and stay down. And half the people left, and we're like, I don't know what to do. So we stayed put, and that's where...
Well, you stayed put. I took off.
You took off. Well, I was in preparation making spam musubi for everybody. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this part of the story doesn't matter because my assistant wanted to leave. I didn't care if we left or not. But she was like, we got to go. Okay, so we left for a week, came back. But yeah, by the time we came back, we're like, all right, let's make more food. We ate so much Creole Cajun food back in New Orleans, and we actually had some Cajun food today.
And before that, one of the artists whose features in this book is the connecting point, I think, for how we met.
Yeah.
And it's my good friend Larry Lee, an artist in Chicago. And so, many of the people in the book we know in person, either they're my friends or your friends. So that's the title of the book is Word of Mouth. So we get this idea that we want to work together. And then we go about our lives, and the pandemic happens. And did any of you get into baking or cooking during the pandemic? A little bit. What'd you get into?
Mastering cheeseburgers on the grill.
Ah. What about you? Is there anybody else? You're nodding.
Yeah, we like to bake. My girls and I bake sweet stuff, cakes and cookies.
Yeah. Well, I had a kid at home. Now my kid is 20 years old and off in college. But you know how it was. We're all locked in the house. And so for us, then mealtime became like, let's, I was able to work remotely. So first of all, I wasn't a frontline worker. I was teaching online and working remotely. So in those early months, weeks of the pandemic, we were cooking, and that was something that was quite fun. Anything could have been fun during that time period. Things got darker shortly, but I was part of a Facebook group called Eating During the Time of Coronavirus, and exchanging recipes with people and showing off our stuff, and it just seemed to be a way to kind of find people through talking about food. And then I think we got the idea to do the cookbook. Then we started this, and it was a way to. I was missing my friends meeting in person, and as artists, a lot of times we'll go to art openings, and then afterwards, at least in Chicago, we all meet up in Chinatown, eat together, or backyard barbecues, and I was just missing that sense of community. There was also a rise in anti-Asian hate that had started at that time with this rhetoric that this was the quote-unquote China virus. In 2021, the Atlanta spa shootings. So there felt like this could be something to help build community. I was also thinking about church cookbooks or community cookbooks and wanting to reflect the community that we have in this formation.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, I might be a little bit out of the timeline, but I think when we were talking about New Orleans, I think that was 2019, right?
Yeah.
Because we had this loose idea what we wanted to do together, right? And we didn't finalize until during the pandemic, but I think the idea of cookbook was kind of there because we wanted to do something themed around the idea of food. But then I also wanted the cookbook to be more than just a regular cookbook you find anywhere else. I think it was important for us to illustrate the recipes.
Yeah.
I think it was important for us to get the backstory behind the recipes. All right, so it wasn't just our own comfort food, but the people that we also talked to, our friends and the other extended people. And then I also wanted to, because we're recruiting other artists, we want to feature their artwork as well, their bio, and make it more than just a cookbook. It was more kind of like an art project of sorts in itself. So we were more like just project curators of gathering the different artists to this cookbook is kind of like almost an exhibit of different artists' works, their personal works, their bios, their stories, and their recipes. Right?
Yeah, just 24 artists, including ourselves, from all around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think initially the idea, which was Laura's, was great because I think we initially wanted to be a free thing that people could download online on the PDF format. And it was through the virtual Asian American
it started
Museum.
out as an online exhibition.
Right.
In one sense, that was, during the pandemic, it was almost impossible to get publications. We're
Right.
pitching the project, and everybody's like, no, not right now.
Yeah.
So,
And then we got picked up in New York when we gave a presentation, and that's kind of how for the past 3 or 4 years, it finally came to this physical format that it is today. So
yeah,
that
so
was very
it was
exciting.
launched first in 2023 as an online exhibition, and as you mentioned, we were speaking at a panel at the College Art Association that a friend of ours, or mine, had organized. And I'm blanking on everything.
No, I mean, from what I remember, I thought it was a cool idea. Like, hey, guys, check this out. We had this very interesting idea for a cookbook that's different. What do you guys think? And then we had recruited, what's her name? The curator. No, not the curator, right? The art historian. Christina Wong, is it? No, it's not Christina
Well, this
Wong.
is where this is unacceptable, and here we're on Facebook Live. But I should mention the reason why both of us somehow have memory problems. Is
We're
that
old.
No. Let me tell you, this is a disability project. At the very beginning of the project, I think we were both able-bodied, right, and making things.
Sure.
And shortly into the project, I got cancer, breast cancer, and had surgery, chemo, radiation, and then a number of personal traumas and divorce and such. And so this project was sort of a lifeline that helped keep us simmering along in the project. But one of the side effects of chemotherapy is I even forget my child's name sometimes. But that's why I have notes.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
Along the same line, this cookbook also became like a place of healing for us because I myself have gone through a divorce.
This is the solution when your brain freezes.
Yeah.
Look at the
look
table
at
of
the name
contents.
of the book.
It's not acceptable.
Yeah, so I went through a divorce. I went through a couple of different health scares. More recently, open heart surgery in last December. So in many ways, this cookbook, when it was released this year, became this place of healing for the two of us. And that's where we also bonded because of through our personal journeys and struggles. And I think the connection that we make with other people became such an important aspect of the cookbook itself because it is about gathering people. It is about talking with people over food and how we make such strong personal connections with others. So, yeah, and I'm grateful for you to be able to spearhead this project.
You can see Jave's illustration on the front of the book here.
And that's what we're down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the art historian we worked with is Michelle Yee, and I've known Michelle longer than I've known you, so this is absolutely unacceptable that my mind just blanked. But Michelle grew up in Utah, and her family is immigrants from Taiwan. And so they had a restaurant, Chinese restaurant, and a grocery store. And so she writes about growing up in a predominantly white community and what Asian food was like at that time, and then also learning how to cook from her mom, and then kind of questioning sort of what is authentic food, and was it her mom's cookbook that she had was sort of like a reference point. But then of course, as you're living in different places, you may or may not have the ingredients, and you have to adapt things, and maybe she was pulling things from her husband's family's recipes and her mother's family's recipes, and it may end up being something totally different. And then by the time Michelle learns it, she says she's calling her mom and they're FaceTiming, and her mom is telling her, oh, put a dash of this and that, and so a recipe might evolve, right? And she talked about that sort of evolution. And she frames our book with talking about food and art history and different artists' cookbooks.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, how we got picked up by the University of Arkansas Press, because there was a representative who was very interested in that pitch. And if you look at all the recipes in the book, everybody had their own twist to the traditional recipe, right? I have two recipes in here, which is kimchi fried rice and
show them
mapo
off?
tofu, which towards the last page. This is the kimchi fried rice, but they are not the actual original recipe because I put in my own. Oops, sorry. This is actually hard. So
I can do this and you can talk.
So mapo is one of my favorite foods growing up in Japan and also here in the States. And every place I've been to, they make it differently in every different region, right? Like say in Denver, they put in jalapeno peppers in the mapo. I'm like, what? That is wild. But every place puts in something interesting. So I picked up the ones that I really like and put it into my own recipe. So it's like me collecting recipes from different parts of the country and then making it my own. So I feel like a lot of artists also did that with their own comfort food. So it's quintessentially American recipe in my opinion, even though they're inspired by other cultural recipes. So I find that to be a very interesting part about how everybody put in their recipe.
And you just look on the cover. The cover here is a recipe by Francis Wong, and he's an artist in New Orleans. And he came recommended to us from our connections.
Szechuan alligator.
Yeah, so it's spicy Szechuan alligator. And so his family restaurant, I think it's called Trey Yuan, in Maidville, Louisiana. And so his father's family is a restaurant family, and they had several restaurants, but that's the main one. And they use regional cuisine from New Orleans area, along with traditional dishes and the combination there. So that's like a good example. And the one that you illustrated here is by Aaron O'Brien, and Aaron is Irish and Vietnamese, and this is called Pork My Buns XXX. And it's actually a memorial recipe. So we have family recipes, restaurant recipes, and this one's a memorial recipe for somebody named Christopher Lee, who founded the Transgender Film Festival in San Francisco. So there's sometimes they're family stories, sometimes they're community stories. And, during the pandemic, so many of us lost so many people. And so some of these are also memorial recipes as well. I lost my aunt during the pandemic, and so one of the recipes that was a memorial recipe for her was her mac salad recipe. If I can find my own. Here we go. So here you can see this mac salad recipe. So in Hawaii, people like to do plate lunch, and you'll have kind of your meats, and then on the side you'll have 2 scoops of rice, and you'll have a scoop of macaroni salad. And this particular one is kind of a mix. It's a little mix of like potato salad and macaroni salad, but there's pickled, quick pickle cucumber in there, and also crab meat and things like this. So it has a little bit of a Japanese American twist. But in many ways, this is kind of like 1980s, 90s Japanese American, like with the mayonnaise and all this kind of thing. So it's a little bit nostalgic, even in this time period, because it's not like we necessarily eat like that today. However, one of the things that's in here that we still do eat all the time is Spam musubi. And you just went to the Spam
museum
yesterday
in Minnesota, yes. Awesome. Minnesota.
So my dad's family is from Hawaii, and Spam musubi here, so you can have the rice and the egg and your Spam, and we put furikake, like seaweed, and it's wrapped in nori. And it's a great snack, but it's definitely something we serve as an appetizer, and for me, it was really representative of a dish that we would eat, in my family, and I was missing them quite a bit, and it was something my kid and I love to make together, so I tell that story. So yeah, our book is a combination of both. Yeah, like you mentioned, you'll see a featured recipe, but then you'll also learn about the artist and get to see their artwork and read a little bit about their story as well.
Yeah. So it isn't not just a cookbook, but it is truly an artist's cookbook. Like it is art. It's a book about artists, a book about cookbooks. It's about everything. So, yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of the friends that you have in the book?
Oh, sure. So I have some local friends who are near. Well, when I say local, more like regional, right? So I have friends from Kansas City. So this is Heinrich. He is a printmaker out of Kansas City. And he makes some of the most delicious beef chow fun that I've ever had. And he's just a great cook himself. And I really want to illustrate this recipe because my illustration doesn't do it justice. I'm just mouth-watering right now thinking about it. It's so delicious. Everybody contributed something interesting and different. My other friend is Kathy Liao, who is, this is Taro Takizawa. He submitted to
Okonomiyaki,
Japanese
yeah.
okonomiyaki, which is like a egg pancake. That's Japanese, and it's usually made with savory eggs and almost like a barbecue sauce.
It's you put the and then it's the Japanese
It's the
mayo
Japanese
on
mayonnaise
top.
on top. This is
It's the bulldog sauce.
yeah, the bulldog sauce, and then there's seafood in it usually.
Or bonito flakes that you put on
yeah.
the top, and it's funny when you put those on there, they start to dance, so it looks like
Yeah.
they're alive.
Yeah. It might freak some people out though. Let's see. Let's see if I can find
That's
Kathy.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, then here's stop with this one here.
Jumping.
So there was a sourdough
Very
craze,
so.
right? But what do you do with all that extra starter? So, filmmaker Valerie So created this Taiwanese breakfast dish using the sourdough starter.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's really a lot of interesting different recipes here. It's frozen. But yeah, they're just some really interesting stories, and not just stories, but some of the artists we recruited makes fantastic artwork, and it's just really fun to look at the kind of artworks that they make. It's just really beautiful. Yeah.
She's a New York-based artist.
Yeah.
And she grew up not liking the taste of meat at all. So her recipe is a recipe. It's for her they're kebabs, and you can make it with chicken meat.
Right.
But she wanted to create a recipe that didn't really taste like meat. It was
Yeah.
something that she would eat.
Yeah, and then this is a Kansas City-based artist, Kathy Yao. She makes large-scale paintings like these, and which is usually about personal family history with her grandmother. But the recipes also throw back to her cultural background, to her being Taiwanese and the kind of stuff that she used to eat with her grandma. And so it's there's some really nice.
You want to
beautiful
describe what this is?
the kanji.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically rice in soup.
It's like a rice porridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's savory.
Yeah, it's delicious, and this is what's called a Taiwanese donut. It's just basically just a giant fried dough. Then you just kind of dip into this the soup and then just eat it together. It's savory, it's delicious. It's it's probably not
And her
very healthy,
version's
but
made with fish.
yes,
Yeah.
It's quite good. But anyway,
Our friend Larry Lee, who was kind of one of the starting points for this recipe, you illustrated that.
yeah,
He's caught this recipe called "I'm a Pepper, You're a Pepper, Don't You Want to Be a Pepper Too?" Chicago LA Calbee, and it's it's actually pretty easy marinade, and you just put in the night before, and the key of course is Dr. Pepper.
yes,
Can of Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
And that, of course, acts as a meat tenderizer, and
Yeah.
it sweetens it. It's absolutely delicious. And, if you don't have all the ingredients, a lot of times you can get those pre-made Calbee marinade, and then you just throw a few other things there in it, also with the Dr. Pepper. Or you can do it totally from scratch, so either way, and then you throw it on the grill. So there's a lot of things here, like the Maxell, the Calbee, that you could throw a party with quite easily. There's things you could use as an appetizer to, host a few friends, or there's things you could make a giant dinner. And there's everything from sort of, I think, non-recipes, like our friend Matt Tom's recipe, which is
It's
beautifully
spam and
illustrated,
eggs.
right?
I actually like that recipe.
I do too. It is so good. Spam and eggs and kimchi, right?
I mean, you're not really making anything. You're just kind of grilling the spam and frying the egg and just the salad kimchi with the rice. But it's simple and delicious.
Right,
It's,
so-
it's comfort food.
Like things like this that could be more on a beginning level to other things like Aaron O'Brien's recipe where you're grinding your own sausage.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Or
work.
Lian Truong's
Yeah,
banana layer cake that takes influences from the southern layer cake and Vietnamese desserts and merges the two, right? So some folks were creating a new recipe from their own traditional background and then based on where they live and bringing those things together. Yeah.
yeah. Slow down, can keep up.
I'm not a baker, so that's
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a bunch of fun recipes. I mean, even if you just wanted to look at this to just take a look,
maybe we could show
Oh,
this
yeah.
one too. So not all of them are food recipes. Some of them are recipes here. Christina Wong's recipe for political action. This is a mask designed by Van Nguyen. And during the pandemic, Christina decided to start this group called the Anti-Sewing Squad. And as you probably remember, there was not enough PPE for folks, right? So she's based in LA, and she started having people sewing from their homes and distributing PPE, masks, and it was called the Anti-Sewing Squad. And Van Nguyen was a formerly incarcerated person who designed this mask for them, and so it created a whole movement of mutual aid and helped distribute those. So that's one of the examples of not a food recipe, but a recipe for how it's, what do you do when the state fails you? What are ways you can work together to address some needs? And so she tells that story of that happening. Yeah.
So this is during COVID, and how did you connect with all these people? Were you on Zoom? How did you find them? Were they people you already knew?
This is a combination, word of mouth. Well, so half of them are my friends, half of them are Jave's friends. But of course, I'm based in Chicago, you're based in Omaha. And as the art world goes, you kind of tend to know people on the coast, right? New York and LA and San Francisco. So those places are quite well represented. And we're like, we have to get a larger representation. Right. And so we were kind of looking regionally, hey, we're missing voices from here and there. And we would ask people we know, and people would make recommendations. Or that we'd ask an artist, and they're like, "Oh, I may not me, but you gotta talk to my friend so and so."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we got the representation pretty much all across the country from 24 different artists. So I thought that was a pretty well-rounded and well-covered areas in different regions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This was a massive project. I mean,
it went slowly though. So if you think it like 2019, the idea starts. 2020, we start to work on it. It doesn't really come out until 2023 as on an exhibition, and now finally 2025, it's a book. Yeah. And at no time were we doing this because we had to accomplish something. It was just really about more kind of making those connections, and it went on disabled time when we had the energy. And
yeah, and it does a lot of editing, a lot of rewrites, and just a lot of fine tuning that I didn't anticipate. Nor did all the heavy lifting, but yeah, there was a time when I had to come over to a place in Chicago and we're just kind of reading through the book, like, all right, we're
and
there.
There's still a mistake in there.
Where is it?
Or I can't. My kid found it in my intro, in my section.
I don't think you're supposed to say
two words, two. It happens. This is how it always happens.
Yeah.
It's life.
Yeah.
No matter how many times we read over, like, okay, we always miss something, right? So.
Yeah.
Have you given any thought to actually doing a physical exhibition?
Yes, actually, now that you mentioned
great
it,
setup.
we're about to have a physical exhibition of
my artwork's in Jave's car right now in the parking lot on its way to Omaha.
Yes, so I teach at University of Nebraska Omaha, and I'm curating a show at the University Library where it's going to be half of our work and half of my work, along with the cookbook.
Oh, how cool!
And the grounds display will have a few things on display, like me and Matlock in the book will have a full cake on display, but we'll also have some random, spices on display as well.
So, Mia became a professional cook.
Yes.
After the book came out.
Yeah. So Mia made much credit to her. She's a printmaker, and she made her own illustration for her. Where is she?
It's pancit risotto 2.0.
Yes.
It's a vegan pancit recipe.
Yes. So she's a vegan Filipino baker, and it's hard to be vegan as a Filipino person because most of the recipes are adobo, and which is mostly meat based.
A lot of pork based things and such. So
yeah.
Curiously, we have two Filipino contributors, and both happen to contribute vegan recipes.
Right. So she's a Omaha-based vegan baker. And
yeah, a bakery, Oh So Good.
Baker's called Oh So Good. Oh So Good, and it's a picture of a bear with a chef hat. It's all pretty adorable.
But this one's a savory dish. Yeah.
She makes fantastic croissant dishes these days. And anyway, she'll be making a fake cake for us for the show, but she will also be making a real cake for us to eat or share at the opening reception. So that is the current plan. So physical exhibition, yes, it is happening.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and the show's going to be called Recovery. It opens on September 2nd, and we'll have an opening reception on September 18th, and we'll both be there.
Fantastic. I think it needs to come to the Des Moines Arts Center.
need to make a connection first.
We can probably do that.
Hashtag going up and hashtag word of mouth.
Yeah. And so you'd think, that all the recipes in here are Asian or Asian American recipes. Not necessarily. They're all by contributors who come from that background. But one of our contributors, Robert Farid Karimi, has a recipe called, what is it? Spinach survival. What that page there? It's a spinach recipe. It's like.
Table of contents, maybe?
Right.
That's all. This is when you have a PowerPoint, you can just go like that.
Right.
It's coming because his last name is, it's going to be
55, a recipe for survival
there.
spinach casserole?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
So he is Guatemalan and Iranian, and he tells a story about how his mom, when she first immigrated, she would get made kind of fun of for her ethnic cuisine. And so this is a dish that is neither Iranian or Guatemalan, but when he was in college and he didn't know how to cook at that time, now he's a very accomplished cook, he said, Mom, what can I bring to a Christmas party? And so she gave him this recipe that seems pretty Midwestern in the contents. It's got like Campbell's soup and frozen spinach and all these kind of things. But it also is like, imagine you're working all day, you have very little time, you may not have a lot of money, and you got to put something together to bring to a party. And so she gave him this recipe. So it's also a story about code switching, and in some ways being sort of stealth and not wanting to make yourself be vulnerable. And he has worked a lot in food in terms of art and in audience participation, but his more recent work has to do with games, using games as a way to communicate and do critiques about our current political situation. So game design. So that this recipe kind of falls within those discussions. And his artwork that he contributed is a card game that raises issues about immigration. Very pertinent for today. Right, so you draw these different cards, and it tells you, a race card and whether you can. Yeah, it has these different instructions on there. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what other things you want to share from the book.
I don't know. I mean, obviously this is just very personal, very fun for us, and considering this is technically our very first speaking event.
Yeah, I guess probably not intentionally so, but I think a lot of the folks who are in this book came from working class backgrounds and families, which is not the case all the time in the art world. It sometimes can be really hard to make it as an artist. So I think that is something a little bit unique. Aram Hansafuentes offers a recipe for Korean street food, the robaki recipe, and her parents, they just retired, but they had were running a dry cleaners and working sewing. And so she said they were working most of the time, and then on Sundays they'd have a little bit of time to do family things, and this was the favorite dish, So there's restaurant things like this. Again, I mentioned Larry Lee before, but his dad worked at a restaurant called Trader Vic's that used to be in Chicago, and it had that sort of tiki themed theme to it. So he came from a restaurant family as well. And before that, they had Chinese restaurants in South Carolina. So he brings those kind of histories as well. So I think that's a unique aspect. Yeah, and I think as a lot of times cookbooks may be looking back to the past, or maybe they're aspirational. And I feel like this is sort of taking a snapshot of what our community looks like right now, in all of its variations. So your friend who made the chapchai recipe.
Oh, right.
Yeah, do you want to talk about him? I think it's just...
It's almost
There it is.
Yep. So, actually, I'm not too proud of this particular illustration, but
He's hard on himself.
this is the Korean japchae recipe. He's actually a very interesting guy because I met him through the arts community, and he's also an art professor out in Boston. So he makes these fantastic large-scale paintings and works. But what's interesting about him is that even though he's Korean, he was adopted as a child. So he grew up in with white parents. So he had to learn how to be Asian on his own. Through doing that, he learned to make some Korean recipes that kind of pay homage to his cultural roots. So it's kind of an interesting way for him to discover his personal origins through the idea of making recipes. So I thought that his story is actually quite unique. And yeah, I mean, I met other Asians who are also adopted, like the way he was. So, like, oh yeah, Jared's story is unique, but it's not like the only story. It is similar in that I have students who are also Chinese who were adopted and learn how to be their cultural origin through discovering foods or some other ways of getting in touch with their cultural roots. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not adopted, but I'm mixed race, and I think, sometimes there's these questions of like authenticity, or
Sure.
and I wasn't raised with an Asian mom teaching me how to cook. My mom's not Asian, so food has been a way for me also to learn about my Okinawan culture and my dad's community in Hawaii. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in a small Norwegian town. As an adult, actually learning about these things and asking family members and aunties for recipes has been a way for me to access my culture as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your specific art? Because it looks like, is that pencil or painting? The fried rice.
Yeah,
that was so detailed.
How did you do yours?
Well, I used a photo reference and I drew initially with pen. And I went over with watercolor and gouache.
Okay.
So that's how you have some thinner colors. That's just skip one. You have some transparent colors. That's more watercolor, and some of the more richer colors are with gouache.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just the ink.
And did you do these on canvas?
On paper.
On paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I lost most of my original works because I forgot where they are.
Show up, I hope.
Somewhere, I have one recipe saved, which was the kimchi fried rice, which is what's going to be on the physical display next week.
Which is the one you didn't really like?
No.
Oh. Oh, okay.
No, I like
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's
This-
beautiful.
This is fine.
Yeah.
But that's the only physical one I have left. I don't know where the rest of them are.
So then they were photographed, scanned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
and how about
it was during the pandemic, so sometimes people sent us images of their food. Other times people just sent us a recipe and then we cooked it and photographed it.
Yeah.
Or the photographs they sent us weren't great, so we cooked the recipe and photographed it. So it was a little kind of bit of both, back and forth.
Yeah.
So working from those references, and then mine are watercolor. So I would reference the photo, either freehand draw it or trace parts or freehand draw things, and then just lightly in pencil. And then I like to do kind of washy watercolor, see where the paint flows, and then use pen to carve it back out and pop things and kind of back and forth like that, and then scan it. So they're not digital illustrations; they're one-of-a-kind paintings.
and do you have your
small.
originals?
I do.
I'm not as responsible as Laura.
I mean, things happen. A lot happened in our lives. It's okay. If that's all that was lost, you're alive, I'm alive. That's what matters.
Grateful to be alive.
Yes, it really, really does. Yeah, so mine were like 9 by 12, really
Yeah.
kind of small illustrations.
But they translated well for the print version, so
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah.
And we have a selection of artists. Some are emerging and some are quite famous. So there's very established artists. For example, one of the artists in the book, Hassan Elahi, is shown internationally. And his project, one of the projects he became well known for, he's originally from Bangladesh, and it's a project called Tracking Transients. So shortly after 9/11, some neighbor of his reported him as a potential terrorist. So he got pulled in for questioning. And he has very good record keeping, and he was not a terrorist. But because then they were tracking him, he decided to create an art project called Tracking Transients, where he said, I can do a better job than the FBI of tracking myself. So he uploads every toilet he's used, every bed he's slept in, every taco he's eaten, every airplane he's been on. And still to this day, this is giant database, and you can see his things there. So this is like, all these different meals he's eaten, all these hospital meals he's eaten, and so on. And he shares everything and nothing. So it's an overload of data, but it actually tells you really little about his life as a person. So he broke with character because he has a sort of, a distanced view in a way. And he shared a recipe here for tripe stew from his mom. It's a very personal story. But, he had to adapt it to life today, and he's using an Instapot, which his mom probably would have never done. But he's, adapting that, and then here's later in the recipe, he says, hey, if you want to try this with ramen as well, it's really good. So, there's things that you remember, and then ways you have to adapt it to your working life and your busy life. And then what is it going to be like day 2, 3? You can add other ingredients and change it. So there's tips like that. So things, if you're living alone, cooking by yourself, if you're with a family, all kinds of different recipes for different iterations of how we build community. Yeah.
Have you given any thought to turning this into a documentary? It would be a great documentary. Don't you think?
I think so. You guys speak so well together.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
the stories behind it are just fascinating.
They are. Each artist, I think, is just so.
Yeah.
The artists are what carry the project.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically the organizers, right? I mean, everybody's recipes, everybody's stories, and they make the book, right? I mean, yeah, we contribute as well, but without all the parts, it's not gonna. There's not gonna be a book.
Right.
So.
Michelle Yee, whose name now I'm remembering. Michelle's. If you watch this, I know you said. This is like a blank. I did drive all the way from Chicago today. Michelle Yee talks about how we are coming together in difference in this book, rather than us all being the same. We're all coming from very different sort of backgrounds, and she talks a lot about how the role that nostalgia plays in these recipes.
Yeah, she gave a very nice forward. So please read that section if you have the time. It's a bit of a read,
but yeah, there's she talks about Richard Tiravanjana's work, an early in the '90s artist who served curry at an art exhibition. This is sort of like a beginning of sort of social practice, that term in the art world for things in Ling Wei, who was feeling lonely during his MFA years at Yale and invited people, the Dinner Project, to come and meet with him and have a conversation, and that was a way to build community. So she outlines kind of recent histories of Asian American food, artists using food in projects, and then longer histories of still life painting and artist cookbooks that have previously come. One of the first artists in the book, because it's alphabetical, the chicken recipe right here. My friend Anita Ali, this double fried garlic chicken recipe. So she is originally, she's Cambodian, Khmer, and ethnic minority called Cham. So this is a kind of a mix of Korean fried chicken recipe, garlic fried chicken, but it has a Khmer spices, Cambodian spices that are on that. And her family's a blended family. She married someone who's from Japan, and so she's kind of, the food crazes and of interest in Korean fried chicken in Japan, mixed with the Khmer spices and bringing it together. And when she developed this recipe, she was actually doing a residency back in Cambodia, and she was missing Asian American food. And for her, this was kind of like the epitome of Asian American food. But in her story, it's really beautiful. She says, as a young person, she did not want to learn how to cook from her mom. She thought that was super unfeminist. And she talked about her mom like sitting on the floor with a mortar and pestle and sort of pounding and grinding the garlic and the ginger together to, as your beginning of your spices to create every dish. And later she realized, hey, wait a minute, no, she needed to go back and learn about that from her mom. So it's a story of kind of coming full circle, and then creating this new recipe.
Wow.
So it's fun. Yeah, so a few of the artists have, experience as cooks or use food in their practice. Others, it's a surprise, not at all, but yeah. So we get to learn a little bit something new about their lives. Yeah, we'd love to take questions from all of you.
How did
hear
you
about other things?
Yeah, how did you decide which of your own major work you wanted to put in
Or
the book?
artworks?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about yours?
No, it was one of the more recent ones I had available. That was simply
That was
Yeah.
Very scientific.
I included a landscape painting that I did of this giant banyan tree, a Gajimaro tree in Okinawa. That was the piece that I had created while I was in the residency where we really connected here. This is a large-scale acrylic painting of a giant banyan tree. And so this is in Valley of Gangala in Okinawa, Japan. It's inside of a limestone cave, and the tree has grown up through the roof of the cave. And for me, the banyan tree, as an Okinawan person, is really a metaphor for when, you may not have a lot of resources, but that, in this case, the banyan tree will latch on to rocks and find its way and hold on to things. And it's got prop roots. So when the old root is not doing so well, the prop roots, they go down and they hold up the other branches. And I really like that metaphor, how all together we can hold each other up. And in this scene, in real life, there's a giant pile of rocks, which is an ancient grave. Anyway, so it's a real life place, and it also was one that I did at the residency where we really connected here. So.
Yeah, and I guess to go back to talk about my painting in particular, I also picked the one because this was a painting I made during the pandemic. It was about the nurses and doctors in the hospitals and how they were facing such hardship working in a hospital, watching people die because of what was happening. So because this project was conceived during the pandemic, it just seemed appropriate fit as well.
And it's on a laser cut Game Boy, right? Or what is the device?
Yes, it's a reference. It's a reference to a Nintendo Switch, but yes, it's a Game Boy. Yes.
Oh, sorry. You can tell I'm not a gamer.
Yeah. It was just a reference to that. Anyway.
You cut it's like hand done, right?
Yeah. So each layer. This is a layered sculpture actually. So this is about 8 different layers of wood that's glued together, and then just painted each individual layer. So it looks 3D unless you get up close to it. So you can't really see the dimensionality through the photograph, but this physicality to the sculpture is about this big. So
James' artwork is incredibly detailed. The first one that I saw was a scroll that you did.
Yeah.
It was I don't know how many feet is that?
30 feet long. So I made this is the painting I'm mostly known for. It's a scroll painting about the Japanese tsunami earthquake that happened back in 2011, and I made like a 30-foot long memorial painting by hand. It was I had like a tiny paintbrush, and I had this giant scroll of paper, and just painted every day for the next year to complete this painting, and it's been displayed all over the country to kind of talk about. It's a service of memorial for the people who lost their homes and lives back in Japan in 2012.
That's been a reoccurring theme in your artwork. I think that's why we're calling our show together about recovery.
Right.
So my works that I'm showing in this show are about recovering from breast cancer, and you were showing works about
recovering from trauma.
Yeah.
Really. So
natural disasters.
Yeah, just the story of human triumph, and also trying to find the strength to make it to the next day, basically, right? So I mean, again, for us, it's about us overcoming our personal trauma to bring together this cookbook, and in our show, it is about our own personal recovery that really comes down and converges on this cookbook. So, yeah. That's the long answer.
Where do you display a 30-foot?
You
Scroll.
get like 8 4x8 tables together, and then just spread it across, put a tablecloth,
Yeah?
slap on top, or you can put it on the. Yeah. No, I've been told by museums that I give them logistical nightmares. Right now it's just sitting in my office and rolled up in the tube, right?
Well, I'm excited to see your new work, and you have work right now that's in a museum.
Right, I have 3 axes on display at the Jocelyn Museum in Omaha. So that's mostly what I'm known for these days, because I make ornate axes that I laminate different exotic woods. I carve them, I plate in the axe head with
like axe throwing.
yes.
Yeah, you might want to explain that too.
That you're a champion axe thrower now, right?
From last weekend, yes.
No, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal for me. Now, nobody in the axe throwing cares.
I didn't really.
Everybody knows it's from axe throwing.
You're the only one I know. Now I know all of you too. So yeah, for those of you online, the audience here is not a cookbook audience. It's an axe throwing audience.
We love you, Jave.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we should talk about our favorite cooking knives.
Favorite cooking knives.
No, tell us about axe throwing?
What is to know? I don't know. I was doing artist residency Toast Artist Fellowship back in 2018, and there was a brand new axe throwing venue open in Tulsa called Angry Axe. So I went to go try it, and no, it was before that. It was in my friend's backyard. He was a curator. He bought a couple of tomahawks for the fun of it, built the target, spray painted the target, threw it, and I threw mine over the fence at the next door neighbor's house. Like, oh crap!
Your neighbor was the one who was probably oh crap.
Yeah.
Imagine that coming over the
No, I mean that's the thing. Right? I was so terrible that my own friends were making fun of me, and so I'm like, I'm determined for them to not make fun of me. But 6.5 years later, I'm still pretty bad at axe throwing. Yeah.
But Nate, you're making gorgeous
I make okay axes.
Yeah, engraved and painted axes.
Yes. So anyway, my axes were seen enough and recognized enough that the Jocelyn Museum's like, oh hey, your works are great, but we want to show your axes. And it was weird because up until this point, I never really considered my axes to be art because it was just more decorative kind of a practice. But then when the museum said, we don't want to show you regular paintings or sculptures, we want to show you axes, I'm like, oh. I was disappointed, but at the same time, I was also slightly excited that I get to show my new thing that I've been doing anyway. So, yeah. It's a mental tradition, I guess.
This is the second book I've illustrated, but I'm not an illustrator. I'm trained as a painter. And the first one I illustrated was a children's book called The Okinawan Princess, The Legend of Hajichi Tattoos. So the hand tattoos I have here. And so that was the very first time I illustrated something. So that gave me the idea of like, hey, I think I could do this even better the next time. But
and you did. And now you're an author.
Yeah. So things just evolve.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know where your passions will take you and what will happen, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
What I liked about this project, though, it wasn't for tenure or promotion. It wasn't because I had to obtain XYZ or whatever. It was just because we wanted to.
We wanted to make a cool project, and we did.
And the timeline wasn't, it had to be done by this date for this thing. It was just floating along.
Yeah.
And that's very rare. I mean, usually always in life there's like, I gotta get it done by this time or something.
If I'm being honest, I always wondered if this was actually going to come out, because I'm like, how, are we still editing this thing?
Years later.
Yeah. I'm glad it's out. I'm like, oh, physical copy. Yes. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you for such a delightful evening.
Thanks for having me.
And we have books here for sale, and I'm sure you'll sign them too.
Yes, we're happy to sign books, and you get free best axe throwing cards.
One column for
Yes, that's okay.
Championship axe throwing.
All right.
Only one.
Okay. Thanks again. Let's hear it.